This episode of the Digital Desperados podcast is brought to you by SaferNet VPN, found online at safernet.com.
Hey, welcome to the Digital Desperados podcast featuring dark tales from the web. Patrick McMurphy's here today to tell us our dark tales, and he's joined, of course, by Brad Hawkins, founder, CEO of SaferNet VPN. I'm Jim Brangenberg, and I'll serve as your story guide. This podcast is brought to you by SaferNet. It's so great to have an app controlling phone internet time. But how do you control time and access on your computer or tablet? Well, SaferNet VPN. Your shield against online threats, simplified cybersecurity for businesses and families. Explore VPN and the power of a virtual private network. Explore the internet controls of virus protection, backed by 84 filters and 200 internet controls to get a secure online experience. And one profile on all of your devices. Get secured now. Sign up at safernet.com. That's safernet.com. All right, Patrick McMurphy, which dark tale did you bring to the storyline today?
Well, today, Jim, I want to talk about a group instead of an individual. And now this group officially are known as Advanced Persistent Threat 29. I'm not going to call them that because what everyone calls them is Cozy Bear. Very cutesy name for a very not cute group at all. And so Cozy Bear are what we call state-sponsored hackers. Now, we've had these state hackers on the show before, but just to briefly explain, when any country with a relatively large standing army has a large standing army, also has some hackers working with them as a part of a group. And in the country we're talking about today, it's Russia. So Cozy Bear are Russia's greatest state hackers. We know that they work directly underneath the FSB and SVR. So these guys are on the books. In terms of how state-sponsored hackers work, these guys are the best of the best. They are some of the brightest technical minds of Russia, and they play a significant role in shaping what's really the current cybersecurity landscape. In terms of their membership, there is zero information on that. Now, we've covered a lot of guys on this show, and I can guarantee you that at least 50% of the Russian guys we've mentioned probably work for a Cozy Bear now.
Wow, now, that's powerful.
Yeah. The funny part about Cozy Bear is that Russia actually has two major state groups. The other one is called Fancy Bear. There will be a day we'll come to talk about Fancy Bear, but I'm leaving them out for today anyway. Now, when you're looking at Cozy Bear, they have three primary targets. It's US, Canada, and Europe, but really anywhere that is considered what we would consider the West, though I will say it focuses on the US way more than the other two. They are completely focused on cyber espionage and data theft. And so what we see with a lot of state hackers, like we covered the Lazarus group before, they were interested in financial crime. That's not the case with Cozy Bear. It's disruption is their goal. They are looking at disrupt another state. So with that, their main targets include things like military, government, energy, diplomatic, telecom sectors, but they've also hit a lot of private citizens. So that's something you should be keeping in mind as well. Now, the first traces of Cozy Bear were picked up by white hat hackers, as in legal hackers, in 2008, but they really didn't make public waves until 2014, so really only about 10 years ago. Something unique to Cozy Bear is that they have an arsenal of homemade tools known as the Dukes. We won't cover all of them. There's about 6 major ones, but today I just want to cover one, the deadliest one, which is called Cozy Duke. Again, I feel like we're talking like a kid's cartoon. But
I would say, does Cozy Duke have really short jean shorts on?
Possibly. The Cozy Duke he might have.
But the Dukes of Hazzard, that reference just went right past you. You never watched the Dukes of Hazzard?
I remember the General Lee. That's what I get.
Oh, but Daisy Dukes. Does Cozy Duke wear Daisy Dukes? All right. All right. The point is, someone's always watching. How else would they know how to advertise on the side of your screen for exactly what you were just talking about 30 seconds ago? Stay safe while working online with SaferNet VPN. Our easy-to-use cybersecurity app keeps businesses protected. VPN, internet controls, virus protection, 84 web filters for distraction-free online environment so you can work and not worry about people seeing your work. Get secured now. Sign up at safernet.com. Safernet.com. They can handle large companies, small companies. They can handle your family. Safernet.com. Talk to me about Daisy Dukes. Oh, it's the Cozy Dukes. That's what it was.
I'm going to start referring to them as Daisy Dukes now. But I suppose before we talk about what it does, it's really how it infects a computer, because it's quite unique. First of all, you have phishing. Phishing, we know by now, you get an email, you get a link, you click the link, bam, you have malware. That's how that works. However, Cozy Duke has a very unique attack vector that really no other malware pulls off. It's called something that, to me, is one of the hardest words to pronounce, but it's called steganography.
How about steganography?
Yes.
Steganography.
Okay,
steganography. I've never heard that word before.
Got it easy. You got it easy. But I did not. And so, really, what you have to understand about this, it's incredible. What they do with this is that they embed a virus in an image file. And so what I mean by that is that you get a JPG or a PNG, any kind of image file you might see online. There's this highly mathematical art that embeds pieces of data within the pixels in the image. So the smallest part of a pixel are just rows of numbers, and that can execute as a virus. It's nearly impossible to carry out. And anyone who does it is, if they weren't a hacking, they could be getting Nobel Peace Prize or something, because this is insane to do this.
What does that virus do? Does it copy everything on your computer? Or,
well, it's going to execute Cozy Dukes, which I will get to, but really just for now, just showing you how it's infecting computers to begin with. So what happens, you get an email, it may not have a link on it. You may just get a JPEG saying, hey, look at this cool photo I saw of you over the weekend. And you click on it, and you get maybe, Windows image preview, whatever Mac has for looking at images. That's basically the gunpowder, because when that image opens, the virus executes, as in that's exactly how Cozy Duke is born.
Wow, I was wondering if they're using that term as kind of a steganographer. What those court reporters
that's stenographer.
That's stenographer.
That's stenographer.
Very close.
Is that the foundation of the word that they're using?
Steganography. I don't know. That's spelled different.
Yeah, they're both embedding data on small sets, technically. So
right.
Okay.
You might be onto something there. Now, I will say that act can also be used with video files like MP4. Much easier to pull off, but it's just rarely done. And so the question is, okay, well, what is Cozy Duke doing? So Cozy Duke, when it infects a computer, it remains entirely silent, and every single byte of data on that computer and every incoming piece of information that comes into that computer is siphoned off and goes to a control center that's owned by Cozy Bear. That's all they're doing. They're harvesting every single piece of information on a computer. Now, this is, and I really mean this is silent and virtually undetectable. Anytime a new antivirus comes out that can detect it, Cozy Bear updates it and it becomes undetectable. You will likely never, ever know if you have Cozy Duke on your computer. Their main goal here is long-term intrusion. They want to siphon your data for years at a time. So if you do actually one day manage to find it on your computer, it may have been there for several years, which we'll see quite shortly.
Wow.
So it kind of, as I said, they first appeared in 2008, and this started with, you guys actually might have even seen this. It started with something called, it started in 2008, but it was really 2014 it became popular with this thing called the Office Monkeys. So this video was going around Washington Research Institutes of this. It was a video of monkeys in an office dancing around. But that video was actually contained Cozy Duke and was implanting all these research institute computers with Cozy Duke. So it was a nightmare. Not only that, at this point, people were noticing within a few months of this happening, they attacked the Pentagon, the Joint Staff. What they were trying to do here was to gather intel on military operations. So the Pentagon was breached at multiple points here, but the infection thankfully was stopped before it got to very highly classified information. However, even at this, it saw the internal email system of the Pentagon being shut down for 2 weeks. So if you were in the Pentagon for 2 weeks, you couldn't use internal email for half a month.
Now, I assume, Patrick, that this virus can get into a network and crawl the network and not just computer specific. Is that accurate?
You're completely right. I mean, so you're in the Pentagon, you get one email of a funny image, you click on it, and then your boss, the person below you, the person next to you, they all have Cozy Duke on their computers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a scary thing. And that's what I think most people don't quite understand is when you link all these computers together, it connects everything, and it makes it really nice to be able to work, but it also creates a target-rich environment for a virus. So,
pretty soon after the Pentagon in 2016, and I think you guys will remember this, but Cozy Bear were the ones who hacked the Democratic National Committee servers, DNC, right? I could never pronounce that right. But they had been on those servers for over 12 months. The actual pretty funny thing about this is that, so earlier on, I said that they had counterparts called Fancy Bear. They were in the DNC servers at the same time, but both groups are so elusive that one didn't know the other was there. So they were probably talking at the water cooler in St. Petersburg and just could not exchange information about this. They were hacking the DNC. Now they had great success here because in that same year they sent a spear phishing campaign to a number of think tanks and NGOs, basically saying that the election was rigged in 2016. And here's an image to display why it's rigged. They would open the image, bang, it's Cozy Duke all over again.
Now we know why Hillary lost.
That's to prove it.
Just for that clarity, we know what a phishing attack is. It's an email. You click on a link. Spear phishing is basically a targeted email to a specific person or organization that has identifying information that would make you feel a little more comfortable clicking on that email, and then you end up targeting that link. So, it's basically the same thing but targeted.
Wow. So, I don't even know if I want to ask that question. So they found them at the DNC, and I remember they talked about, the DNC, the servers being hacked, and that's how they got information off those DNCs. I think those guys got that information and then shared it all over the world. Whatever happened to that?
And anytime a computer got infected, it just got infected with Cozy Duke. So it's them gathering more information the whole time amongst NGOs primarily for that attack.
All right. Well, they said the Russians were involved. Clearly they were.
I mean, they were just looking. I mean, you could say it that way. They were just having a look. But it didn't stop with the US. So, I mean, a year later, 2017, they actually tried more or less the same thing on the Dutch government. And what happened that year was that every election in the Netherlands had to be counted by hand because everyone was so afraid of Cozy Bear being in every voting machine. It was a disaster. Despite this, the Russians are now actually getting pretty annoyed that people are noticing what they're doing. So they enter in something called Operation Ghost. So this is where they take every single juke that they've created and make it more secretive, which is way, way worse. So it couldn't be detected before. Now it's definitely non-detectable. So from 2017 for 3 years, they kind of go off the radar only because people don't know what they're doing anymore. But 2020 was the first big year that they got caught again. They actually it was found that they stole the COVID vaccine information from a range of institutions. And that year began one of their biggest attacks, which was called Sunburst. Now, I have a lot of notes here on Sunburst. I'm not going to go heavily into it because it is quite complex. But what happened was that they basically stole proprietary tools that were used by a company for cybersecurity. So if you were joined this company, you would be doing logistics or something, and you would use this guy's software to protect your network. However, all of their tools were Trojanized, as in they were tricked by Cozy Bear. And so this campaign attacked thousands of companies. In fact, it was 18,000 businesses affected within the US.
Oh my. So
that includes the US Cyber Command, Department of Defense, FBI, Department of Homeland Security, the Veterans Affairs, and the US Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, which is CISA. As you can imagine, this was a disaster. At the time, I know, Brad, I was writing blogs at the time. I think I spent a week writing about this one attack because that's the only thing that was happening. Further, in 2021, Cozy Bear was found again in the Republican committee. This time, it was for an unknown amount of time, and they think it was actually detected quite early, and not a lot of information made it off. So,
and that's why Trump lost the election in 2020. Oh my! See, the Russians were involved on both sides. It's unbelievable. I knew. Everybody said there was just conspiracy theories. Now we've got proof.
Yeah, there you go. Last year they've been found in Outlook, Microsoft servers, and most recently, Jan 24, 2024, they were found in HP servers. So really, all in all, guys, Cozy Bear, it's an intricate web of cyber espionage. They have huge amounts of data, unknowable amounts, on US security system, information on private citizens, how military systems work. It's not the last we've heard of them. I guarantee you, if we have this conversation in 12 months, I will have 8 more attacks for you. So,
well, the reality is that if you don't know, I mean, they're obviously good at what they do, and
exactly,
somebody's able to determine what they're doing every once in a while. But you can't be dumb in thinking that there are things that they've not discovered yet happening throughout all kinds of networks all over the world, and it's obvious that every once in a while something pops up, and somebody goofs up and reveals themselves, but there's another 12 hackers behind the next ghost version, and it's hidden, and they're just gathering information. So
that if the Russians got all that information, though, does that mean we've got something that's so powerful on our side that's collecting information? I hope if they've got something that's so secretive, maybe we've got something.
I have a huge list of tools I can mention, which I'm not going to.
Yes, that's probably wise, but I think the reality is that it's happening all the time. And if we believe that somehow we're not being hacked, we are just being foolish. I mean, that's what's happening.
Exactly.
And we have to do whatever we need to do to keep our networks that we're responsible for, that we're operating in, as safe as we possibly can, or as safer as we possibly can, if you enjoy the pun name.
The pun name, and of course, safernet.com is the solution for your family, for your business. Check it out online, safernet.com. Patrick McMurphy. Last time we had the Spam Lord, and this time we had Cozy Bear. I can't wait to see you bring to the show the next time. But thank you also to Brad Hawkins from SaferNet for supporting our interest in these compelling stories of the dark web. Just remember, everybody, the internet and everything digital has a dark side, and many dark players. Even clicking on images can get you in trouble. It's why you need SaferNet by your side. VPN, antivirus, website filters, internet controls, so much more. For your online security, check out safernet.com, safernet.com. Till the next time, click only on attachments, including pictures, that you trust from those you trust. Maybe don't even click on pictures. If your mom sends you a picture, maybe you shouldn't click on it. And make sure...
Russian.
Well, you don't know. Maybe it's somebody spoofing your mother. So till next time, click only on attachments you trust from those you trust and delete the rest, or you may become the next victim of a digital desperado.
This episode of the Digital Desperados podcast is brought to you by SaferNet VPN, found online at safernet.com. Business owners, listen up. Criminals and search engines do not need to know everything you do on the internet. SaferNet VPN ensures your company's safety with its powerful cybersecurity defenses. Explore the Control Center dashboard for seamless management. Shield your workforce from inappropriate web content using 84 internet filters. Trust SaferNet VPN, your path to worry-free online operations. Get secured now. Sign up at safernet.com. That's safernet.com.